Good evening, race fans, and welcome to race number 12 of the 2022 VRL Cup Series. We are here today at Chicagoland Speedway for the Windy City 200. Folks, I hope you are all excited for today's race. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the night's action here. 1080p 60 frames a second as we look forward to quite an excellent race here tonight. As right now, I'm a little bit behind here on my notes at the moment. 134 laps. That is the number that I was looking for here. Anyhow, a mile-and-a-half track that we have here in Chicagoland Speedway. A rather unique circuit a rather unique oval that we have here. I'm, used to calling road courses and ovals. I get the two kind of intermingled. Anyway, this oval is very special because there's not really any true straights. If you look at the map here on the center of our screens here, you can see how there's, well, really it's just a giant curved oval. And really that's going to show some pretty interesting racing here tonight as our drivers make their way out onto the track and get themselves started with some qualifying times here. Aaron Smith, the number 70 machine, who we saw last week come away with the win at the Milwaukee Mile. And after a very impressive race there, let's see if the number 70 machine has it in the tank this time around to be able to pull it off here. Well, I'm not going to say pull it off here again, but let's see if Aaron Smith can pull off another good podium here. I mean, he's had a very good past three weeks, really. I mean, he's come away with 2 back-to-back wins as well as a second place 2 weeks prior to that. So Smith here doing fantastic. Nick Nickerson in the number 2 machine qualifying in second place at this point in time with a 30.68. And I believe that is going to be the end of his qual. I believe he might have one more lap here. And let's see exactly where he's going to place himself. But Tony Hillbrand's there in third for just a moment, dropped down to fourth now, as Sean Williams bumps his way into third place with a 30.69 as his best time here around the track. So, already the top of our field looking rather interesting here. Tony Hillbrand's all the way to the tippy top of the timing tower. He goes tying himself with Aaron Smith in that number 70 machine with a 30.66 even. So, both of these drivers very consistent here around the track. The last time that Aaron Smith came around here, he actually put down a 30.67, giving you an idea of what these drivers are putting down time-wise, at least on these really cold, really fresh set of tires. So you're going to see a little bit of inconsistency here and there. Oh, right as we tuned away from Aaron Smith, he gets a little bit of a wall scrape there, and that's exactly what I mean, folks. This track... It's going to be interesting. That's the least I can say about it at this point in the race. But there's still plenty of drivers left out on track that still got to make their way out and put down some qualifying laps here. William Britton, the 64 machine, going to be one of those drivers here at this point in time, making his way around for the very first time for his first flying lap here. The 64, let's see where he's going to place himself on the timing tower right now. Our top 5 really has shaken up quite a bit here. Let's run through them really quickly. Tony Hillbrand's in first, Aaron Smith in second, Nick Nickerson in third, Sean Williams in fourth, and Howie Briss taking that 5th place spot there in the 97 machine. And really a lot of these times here fairly close with one another. The top 4 within really 300ths of each other. So very close in time within the top 3. Or the top 4, excuse me. You got Howie Briss, just kind of an outlier there, just a little bit, kind of peaking there in that 30.7 region. But nonetheless, oh, here we go. We got a car sideways, the 64, William Britton coming across the line. He gets a little unsettled there, smacking it into the top wall. That car is going to have to go down into the pits and get a little bit of repairs done to it before the start of the race here. And as we look on here with James Miller, the 09 machine, I'm not exactly certain. Looks like Miller's coming down into the pits for one reason or another. He has not completed a lap here yet for his qualifying. And with only just a few seconds left, that's probably the reason why he decided to come down into the pit road. But there it is. The checkered flag has flown, and all the drivers making their way down into the pits and getting ready for the start of our feature race here today. again, it's going to be 134 laps that we will be completing here today. And there we go. Race control very timely on the moving the race forward here as we have our starting lineup here available and ready for us. So Tony Hilbrands, he was not knocked out of that first place position, so he's able to stay up there starting in first place. That 92 machine going to be looking fairly solid here at the start of this race with Aaron Smith, the two-time back-to-back winner here coming into Chicagoland Speedway. The number 70 machine with Satellite Racing taking that second place spot, rounding out your first row. Nick Nickerson, the number 2 driver in third place at this moment. Sean Williams, the 89 driver, taking fourth place, rounding out your second row. Howie Briss in fifth place in the 97 machine. Daniel Mosteller in the 87, taking sixth place at this point. Scott Shire in seventh place in the number 4 machine. Michael Keithley in the 53 taking 8th place. Matthew Fitz in the 69 taking 9th place. Charles Jurek in the 76 taking 10th. Benny Hogan in 11th. Eric Whitner in 12th place. And as we work our way down the grid here, Jaden Hopp in 13th. William Britton in 14th. Nicholas Lavelle in 15th. James Koulibaly in 16th. Kevin Foster in 17th, Caitlin Height in 18th, Patrick Colby in 19th, James Miller in 20th, Paul Mikolajczyk in 21st, Michael Ashmore in 22nd, Bill Harkins in 23rd, and Keith Lee in 24th, and that is going to round out our field here today. So, as we get our drivers lined up behind the pace car and stacked up and ready to go for the start of this race here, and there we go. We see that Phenom Paint Shop 92 machine up there in the bottom line, just on the inside of the 70 of Aaron Smith, who, again, Aaron is on quite the streak here of races here in the VRL Cup Series. Now, that doesn't exactly mean he is sitting up there competing in points for the championship at this point in the season. However, he has definitely given the field a run for their money here as race number 12 that we are on currently, and having won back-to-back races like that, that's got to be a little unsettling to see out there. But it's all great fun, great competition between all these drivers here for the most part, and love to see it, love to see all the action that we get to see here week in and week out. And frankly, here at Chicagoland, I'm expecting to see some pretty solid action here tonight, as things could get pretty tense pretty fast. And, you know, it all just depends on who is going to be wanting to move and really work their way through this field here. Howie Briss, the current championship leader in that number 97 machine. There you see on the bottom of the 87 of Daniel Mosteller there on the inside line. So Howie Briss starting in 5th place here, you know, he's kind of in a position where he, you know, he's in the top 5 at least on this start, and frankly, that's not a bad position to be in, because, you know, the guys in front of you wreck out. More than likely, you might be able to avoid it and be able to work your way up there, or you might be able to work a draft. You know, there's a whole lot of scenarios that could work in your favor just by being in the right spot on the track. Being in the front, being in the lead is not always the best place to be. It might always seem like it, but it isn't always usually the best place to be in. But as we work our way now out of turn 4. Nope. There it goes. Okay, it faked me out there. The pace car does make its way down into the pits, and we will see the green flag fly for the very first time here at Chicagoland Speedway, and we are racing for the very first time here for the Windy City 200. Tony Hilbrands down on the inside, holding on to this lead here as Aaron Smith on his outside, working their way out of turn 2. You still see most of the field stacked up 2 by 2. All the way back down the back straight we go, heading into turn 3. No one really making any major moves here. We got a couple drivers looking towards the midfield that might be looking to take this 3 wide. We already got a couple drivers looking to do just that here, but we're trying to see exactly, oh man, look at these drivers shuffling all the way down onto the apron as we cross the line here. Very, very good action from all of these drivers here, continuing on into turn 1. Coming out of turn 2, we'll head on to quote-unquote, the back straight. Again, this track really doesn't have a whole lot of straightness to it. It's really a very subtle curve in the quote-unquote straights that you really don't have a whole lot. You got to really be careful on that throttle. You really don't want to just let it wide open coming out of these turns. You really got to let the car ease into it. You got to be gentle but fast, if that makes any kind of sense whatsoever. But here we're still racing down the back straight, and frankly, I'm just impressed by how well these drivers are going right now. You know, we got a few drivers that are side by side here. No one really picking any major fights here. We're going to dive back down here to Paul Mikolajczyk, riding in 19th at this moment in the 38 machine. Following behind Patrick Colby in that number 9 as we work our way heading into turn 1. You see Caitlin Height in the Morton Salt machine. In that number 18 machine there, just up in front, leading this pack of drivers here from the 17th position. And right now they're kind of getting separated from the rest of the pack. Well, not too separated. They're still relatively close to one another, but that's kind of one of the interesting things that I wanted to pay attention to and keep an eye on, is how spread out these drivers are going to get over the course of the race. How different is that line going to get for a lot of these drivers here as we progress on? Look at that beautiful line that these, oh man, that was great. That was picture perfect. That tickled me a little bit on the inside. It made me smile. That was great. I absolutely love that view. That was awesome. Anyway, we're still racing here across the checkered line, and frankly, you know, these battles that are happening down on track, you know, they might not look like much from up here from the camera's perspective, but when you get down on the inside of these cars and are actually behind the wheel of these things, it gets so intense. And how close you actually are on the track, and man, it is absolutely thrilling. As we're just continuing to watch on here, just seeing where all of our field is stacking up. Let's actually see where this is an interesting development here. Nick Nickerson all the way up into second place now, and he's trailing down Tony Hillbrands extremely aggressively here. Oops, that's not the angle that I wanted. I wanted this one. So we're riding on the rear view camera right now, Tony Hillbrands of the 92 machine, and there we just saw Nick Nickerson down on the inside as they made their way out of turn 4, and they're making their way now going into turn 1 now. And that was quite the move here. Nick Nickerson just very calm, very steady, just keeping himself nice and stable throughout this race here. Finding that really the perfect line that it works for him, and is really starting to crush this field here as Tony Hillbrand's trying to do all that he can to stay on the rear end of that number 2 machine. You see Aaron Smith just kind of trailing back there as well. He might even possibly be saving tires, doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know, it's still very early in this race here, so you kind of got to be in the mindset that, you know, there's still a lot left to go. You got to be mindful of everything that you still have left to do, which right now fuel window is expected to be around 50 to 60 laps here for this race, so still quite a bit of ways to go before we see anyone drop down into that pits, of course. But we also are allocated, drivers are allocated 4 sets of tires here for today's race. So I fully expect that drivers are going to be eating up these tires here today. I mean, we are just seeing, I don't know if that was Scott Shire there getting a little bit loose or what, but that definitely looked like that number 4 machine was starting to get in a little bit of a slide there. And I'm sure that a lot of these drivers here, as we progress on through and tick off some of these laps here, we're going to start to see some of these drivers get a little bit loose and unsteady here as that tire wear starts to come into play and the track heats up. As right now, I unfortunately don't have a weather reference for us at this moment. I could probably pull up the race info again, but we're not going to do that. Scott Shire, though, down to the bottom of the apron. I'm not sure what was going on there. I missed that. I honestly missed that. I'm not exactly certain what happened there for Scott, but he ended up dropping down to the bottom apron, getting passed up there by a couple drivers, Daniel Mosteller, James Miller, and I believe Eric Whitner. Yes, indeed. So, yeah, definitely starting to see a little bit of probably tire wear starting to come into play here. I mean, maybe not even just tire wear in of itself, but just this track is extremely difficult. You got drivers all putting down the same relative line here. You know, we're all following basically the same path, it looks like, for the most part, unless you're trying to make that overtake. So I don't know. I'm starting to think that things are getting a little warm down there on track, and these tires are going to start to not handle too well. I mean, these guys are professionals. They're going to be able to do just fine out there, but it's definitely not going to be easy. With that in mind, let's actually take a look here and ride on board here with switching cameras on you guys here again. I apologize for that, but we're going to just take a moment. We're going to take a deep breath, and we're going to ride on board here with Sean Williams in the number 89 machine. As you see Benny Hogan there up in front in 6th place right now. You see Charles Jurek just creeping his way just in front of the 89 machine. Sean working his way down onto the apron as we cross the checkered line, heading into turn 1. He goes up high, getting that nice entry going into 1 here. Just easing on the gas, just keeping that momentum going, and easy on the throttle as you come down the back straight here. Let off just after the light there. And again, let the car get into its line, get stable. You can see Charles Jurek getting a little bit sideways. That's going to cost him a little bit of time and momentum here as we work our way out of turn 4, crossing the checkered line here once again. Sean Williams starting to catch up to the rear end of Benny Hogan here. It won't be too long, I think, before Benny Hogan is going to start to be in trouble, and frankly, it'll probably be this next turn. But look at this, James Miller, the 09 machine, making some moves down the back straight here. As we work our way heading into turn 3, James Miller up 12 positions since the start of this race here today. He's up into 8th right now, into the top 10. Duking it out with Charles Jurek. He's door to door heading into turn 1, down on the inside, the 76 machine, giving him a little bit of room. They come out of turn 2. Down the back straight we go. It's Benny Hogan just in front of these two drivers as they duke it out side by side here, and that's not the only battle that we have happening down here on track. Matthew Fitz, Scott Shire. You can also see Eric Whitner there a little bit. Man, I don't even know who to keep track with here, folks. There is just action all over this track right now. Look at how these drivers are moving and shaking all over this track right now. I am just in love with this action. Charles Jurek is sitting in that 10th place spot right now. He's got Jaden Hopp, the 81 machine, down on his inside. Working our way down the back straight, heading into turn 3. Benny Hogan, there it is, that traffic that I mentioned that he was going to expect to see here in lap 17, now 18 as we cross the line here. Benny Hogan is going to have to figure out something to be able to respond back to all this speed that these drivers are currently putting down here. This is just fantastic. Great racing from all of these drivers here at this moment. I want to take a moment here and ride on board with one of our drivers. Once again, I'm just appreciating all the driving that we're seeing here today. Looking from the perspective of Jaden Hopp right now, and also just listening to the beautiful sounds here at Chicagoland Speedway for the Windy City 200. Quite spread out here where Jaden Hopp is sitting, but he's also now just cracked his way just in front of Benny Hogan, Charles Jurek, Daniel Mosteller. Working their way down the back straight. They were single file there for just a moment, but here is where we can start to see the difference in lines that drivers are starting to take. And I'm not sure there if Benny Hogan and Charles Jurek were. Charles might have just been following Benny there, but I'm not sure if Benny was taking a different line there, or if he was getting that entry a little bit off there. I'm not sure what he had planned there, but either way, either how, Benny Hogan's still up here in 9th place. He's up 2 spots from where he started in that 11th place spot. So He's not exactly hurting for positions at this point in the race, but things are still getting quite spicy here, kind of around this, really the mid-pack area, where we're seeing quite some intense battles. We see the 87 of Daniel Mosteller working his way down on the inside of Charles Jurek, trying to get everything that he can out of that 87 machine. Down the back straight, Charles Jurek stuck behind Benny Hogan here. Working his way into turn 3. And frankly, I'm just loving it. You know, oh man, it's like a tease. You know, these guys are just looking to go 3 wide here, but man, it's just so close. It's so close. But it's lap 22 of 134 here, and it's been phenomenal driving for all of these racers here. We've actually had someone come off track. It was William Britton. Looks like he had a little bit of a moment, possibly lap 19. And is still in the pits as of this time, so I'm not exactly certain what happened there for the number 64 machine, but the action here is still brewing. It's still hot. Benny Hogan is up on the wall, grinding his way out of turn 2 and down the back straight. That number 5 machine definitely going to have some repairs required down in the pits as, oh man, he is going way high there. Oh no. Not sure if that was closer than it actually looked from what I could see here and from what you could all see at home, but that definitely looked a lot closer than it maybe perhaps was. But nonetheless, I mean, we still are seeing some incredible fights happening out here on track. James Miller. We checked in with him a few laps ago. He was in 9th place. Sitting up here in 5th place now as he's worked his way around Jaden Hopp and Sean Williams. And across the checkered line, it brings us lap 25 of 134. The action has, man, I love it. I absolutely love it. Let's talk a little bit about last week's race, too, just to get an idea of how everything has unfolded, as actually we've had a change in leaders, and I'm not exactly certain when or how. So lap 21. Okay, all right. I did not know this. I was not made aware of this. Okay, so Aaron Smith has made it all the way up here into the lead after, again, winning 2 races back-to-back. The Milwaukee Mile last week, as well as the race at Talladega Super Speedway. So, for right now, I mean, Aaron Smith is looking incredibly strong here in this race. James Miller, the 09 machine, who came into 2nd last week, if I recall correctly from our interview with the 09 machine of James Miller, I know that, if I recall correctly, he was saying that he really wanted to be the one up there on the podium on that 1st place spot. And frankly, it's lap 27 of 134 here, and he's already up here into 5th, and he was down 15 positions. That is just phenomenal, folks. Phenomenal. So, where does James Miller sit in the championship? Let's actually find out together here, as I am not entirely sure. He actually sits in 10th place at this point in time. So, if James Miller here gets himself a win for today's race, you know, that's going to give him a nice little bump in the points. Not exactly certain where that would put him in the standings. However, given the last run that he had last week, again, taking home 2nd place at the Milwaukee Mile, coming here and being able to put himself up into at least the top 5, that's definitely going to help him in the long run. And folks, you don't necessarily have to win championships by winning every single race. You can win a championship by just showing up and finishing in the top 10. It's as simple as that. It doesn't always work that way, and sometimes it takes a lot more luck than just that for that to work. Point being, sometimes you just have to do good enough. But anyway, anyhow, we've got an incredible long 104 laps, 105 laps of this race left to go, and these drivers have all just, frankly, let's find out where they're all sitting at this moment on the track map. And looking, it looks a lot more condensed on the track map than it actually is. Right now, well, frankly, actually, no, it's not. It actually is pretty still tight here. Oh, man. Checking out this battle here between Matthew Fitz, Benny Hogan. Oh, whoa, what was that? Benny Hogan here, he is trying to move himself back up here after having that little bit of a scrape with the wall coming out of turn 2. Keeping it together, though. I mean, all these drivers here have done all that they can to keep this race going as long as it has, and frankly, they've done an incredible job of doing so. So really what I'm expecting to see now is those beautiful, beautiful green flag pit stops. That's when things really start to get quite interesting as far as where people really start to stack up and where they find themselves on the grid once they make their way out of pits. But right now, things are looking pretty solid at this moment. So let's take a moment here. Let's look at our timing tower, get an idea of what our gaps are looking like between our drivers. Oh, we got a yellow flag, and what a perfect time for that as well. Right as I bring out the timing tower. But anywho, let's see exactly what happened here. It looks like Keith Lee, William Britton, both having an incident here. Let's take a look exactly at what unfolded here on the instant replay. So, taking a look here at Keith Lee, the number 61 machine. Oh, we got a little bit of a tap there from the, looks like the number 17 of Eric Whitner, gets into the wall. Collects the 64 and the 61 machine of, again, Keith Lee, William Britton. Happening right on the front straight, right across the checkered line, actually. But that is going to bring us our first caution here of the night. And I gotta say, what an interesting way to bring out the first caution. I mean, that is such a frankly, in terms of racing, that is a very minor wreck on such a track that I personally feel that you would see a lot more interesting things. But speaking of interesting things, we got pit stops happening here. Drivers making their way down here in the entire field, it looks like, but except Benny Hogan and Benny Hogan. Okay, maybe another driver that I'm missing there. I'm not exactly too certain on that one for sure, but it's looking like Benny Hogan's going to work his way to the back of the pace car here and decide to stay out ahead of the rest of the field. Now, that's going to give the opportunity here for the rest of the field to get on those fresher set of tires as you see drivers' cars dropping down, going up, and getting that fuel, getting those tires that they need to make it through this next stint here. As, again, if you weren't here for the broadcast just a little bit ago, we mentioned that fuel's windows were about 50 to 60 laps, if I do recall correctly here. Yes, 50 to 60 laps here for today's race. So, we went about halfway of that margin before drivers decided to come down into the pits here. But again, drivers do have 4 sets of tires that they are allocated here for today's race. So frankly, they could make it a 4-stop race with tires if they wanted to. Not sure that they would want to, but they could. Again, just theorizing here, but from the way I'm seeing things right now, it looks like there might possibly be some tire wear issues going on down on track as well. I don't want to say that too harshly. I don't mean that harshly in any way, as drivers here, again, done a phenomenal job this entire race, and that incident that we just saw that brought out this caution here, it was nothing. I mean, you know, Keith Lee, who was it? Who was the other driver? I don't want to say the incorrect name here. And oh, geez, I got to scroll up. Okay, Keith Lee and William Britton. There we go. That's the name. And I'm glad I looked it too, because I would have made myself look like a fool. Anyway. So those two drivers, Keith Lee, William Britton, you know, all they need to do is take it down into the pits, you know, pit crew, bang that out. No problem. They'll be back out on track. Only issue is, you know, now they've lost position and they're down a few laps and now the race is kind of done for. So there's kind of a couple, you know, it's a double-edged sword situation. And frankly, I don't think either one of those drivers or any of these drivers want to be involved in that kind of situation. But hopefully the damage isn't too bad on either of those machines and that they're able to continue their race here, as it looks like both of them are back out on track. So they should be A-okay to continue the rest of their race here today. So great to see that. Great to see all of the drivers out here on track and here present for today's race here at Chicagoland Speedway for the Windy City 200 as the lights go off on the pace car, as we work our way heading into turn one and get ourselves ready for the next restart here today. All right, so as we have our fields lining up here down the back straight, we get a good, clear picture of everyone working their way down, heading into turn three. Now it's going to be Aaron Smith, Nick Nickerson in the first row, with James Miller, Tony Hillebrands in that second row, Jaden Hopp and Howie Briss in your third row here. All right, the pace car has made its way into pit road. The green flag is out, and away we go. We are racing once again. Lap 38 of 134. Aaron Smith taking a very good lead here. Tony Hillebrands, Nick Nickerson, who we've seen duking it out here for quite some time, as Aaron Smith has done all that he can to get himself a nice, comfortable gap between this field. We head our way now into turn three. The 97 Howie Briss going to be down on the inside here of the number two as well. As it looks like that is James Miller, the 09 machine, who we've been talking about. James Miller doing a phenomenal job here in this race. You see drivers dropping down onto the apron as we cross the checkered line here. Heading into turn one, we're almost three wide between a few of these drivers. Nick Nickerson looking for a line on the outside as we work our way down the back straight. Aaron Smith, Nickerson, both going to be side by side here as we go into turn three. Aaron Smith down on the inside line. Nickerson with quite the speed here as we come out of turn four. The number two machine now in the lead. It's Nickerson's race. James Miller, Aaron Smith, both quite a ways away from each other, but still side by side. Nonetheless, it's Howie Briss and Tony Hillebrands just behind them. Side by side, too deep as we come down the back straight here. Once again, Aaron Smith not in the place that he wants to be here, as drivers are now starting to work on that outside line and gain a little bit of speed here. Who is this down on the inside? It looks like the 61 of Keith Lee. Not having a great race here today. He's going to bring it back down into the pits and ultimately try and get some repairs done to that machine if he can, or might even just call it here. Hopefully not. Hopefully we'll see that 61 machine back out on track here tonight, but we'll only just have to wait and see here. As right now it's pretty strung out here for the front of the field. Let's check back in with our drivers kind of midfield, where we've been seeing a lot of the great action here tonight unfolding. Nicholas Lavelle, the number 10 machine that we're looking at currently in 16th at this moment. You see Benny Hogan, the number 5, in 15th. Nicholas Lavelle here has Eric Whitner, the 17, right on his tail here as well. A lot of these drivers here just trying to do what they can to stay in the race and keep it a clean and green race at that. Each one of them all doing a fantastic job as they work around each other to find the lines that they want to take and really just keep this race exciting. I'm loving to see all the different lines that everyone is moving through and utilizing to try and keep their momentum going, or try and utilize those tire strategies, whatever that it may be possible for these drivers. Oh, right, the perfect time here. Nick Nickerson, James Miller, side by side down the back straight. We're battling for the lead as we work our way heading into turn number 3. The 09, James Miller down on the inside, Nickerson on the outside. Is he going to have the speed to keep that first place position? Working our way across the checkered line. Miller, he's got a little bit of pressure from behind from the 97 of Howie Briss. Heading into turn 1. Miller stays down on the inside. Nickerson trying to hold on to that line that he took the lead in for the first place. Nickerson able to hold on to that kind of mid to high line going out of turns 1 and 2, but here into 3 and 4, let's see if it reciprocates. And indeed, it looks like it does, as Howie Briss is going to look to try and take it 3 wide here. Heading into turn 1, the 97 machine getting mighty bold. Coming down the back straight, you can see just how eager Howie Briss is behind that 97. Let's actually ride on the inside from the helmet camera of Sean Williams here in that number 89 machine. Excuse me, Howie Briss, not Sean Williams. I don't know how I got those two names mixed up, but either way, Howie Briss here fighting for that first place spot. Nickerson dropping down to the inside line here. Going all the way up to the top of the wall here, setting himself up for the entry into turn 1. You can see just barely the right tire, the right front tire of the 09 of James Miller on the left-hand side of your screen for just a moment there. Some absolutely incredible battling between these two drivers. Was that contact? I'm not sure. The 09, the 97 got awfully close to one another. They started weaving away from each other. Perhaps they just felt that they got a little bit too close and corrected, and maybe it looked like they got them into each other, but I don't think that was exactly the case here. Heading down the back straight here once again. Going into turn 3, you know, this string of drivers forming up behind the leader. It's getting a little bit spicy. The 97 machine gets a little contact from James Miller. Sends that rear end getting a little bit skittish as he works his way heading into turn 1 here. Once again, the caution does not come out. Howie Briss keeps it together. We're still racing here. Lap 49 of 134. That was, that was a pucker moment right there if I've ever seen one, that's for sure. Aaron Smith and James Miller both heading out across the checker line into turn 1. It's a battle between the leaders for this race, rather. But neither one of them are leading in the championship. Folks, I just love that. That's just beautiful to me. But absolutely incredible. Tony Hilbrandt's here in 4th place. He's trying to find some room here to squeeze his way in between these drivers. You know, he's got a little bit of an open window there, but he's got to have that speed. He's got to have that momentum to be able to get into that spot. Here you see him trying to get up to as close as he can to the bumper of James Miller, giving him that draft, giving him that push. Heading into turn 3. He's just going to have to keep working that line, keep doing the same thing that he's been doing here time after time again. Just looking a little bit back behind these drivers. Get a little bit of a wider view here. Let's actually go up to our Team Goon Squad blimp that arrived here at Chicago just a few hours before the race. I was actually kind of worried if they were going to make it. But Aaron Smith here trying to track down now the leader, Nick Nickerson, who's about nearly 3/4 of a second between himself and second place here. It's going to take quite a bit of work to be able to close that gap down, but I don't think it'll be before too long before we see that gap start to close in. As we see just behind Aaron Smith here holding on to second place, James Miller, Tony Hilbrands both duking it out here side by side across the checkered line. Still some very, very heated battles here out on track. As we ride on board along the roof camera of the 09 of James Miller here. Oh, a little bit of contact between the two. Keeping it together, heading out of turn 4 now. Miller falls back, he scrapes the wall. Doesn't affect him too much here, but that definitely was pretty close between those two drivers. Nothing really happening between the two, more or less just kind of a, hey, I'm here. I'm still down here. And I'm still racing. Just a little friendly, you know. It's like a fist bump, almost, but with less friendliness involved. Anyway, check this out here. Jaden Hopp, Sean Williams, as well as the 97 of Howie Briss, all kind of stacked up here in a little package. You see Charles Jurek as well as Paul Mikolajczyk, Scott Shire. Oh, wow, look at this 3 wide. I love how they all just kind of spread out right there. It was kind of like watching, you know, like the Blue Angels or something do a formation. That was kind of cool. Anyway, we're still racing here. We still got plenty of action brewing up here. And speaking of action brewing up here, the 70 machine has found something in the tank of that 70. And he's up here pushing for first place now. Nickerson on his outside. Aaron Smith holding on to that faithful low line that has seemingly been working for him this entire race here. But let's see if it's going to work for him this time. As, you know, again, we've seen Nickerson absolutely putting the pressure on, staying up there in that middle to high line, not really opting to go down that low. Only really on the apron, coming out of here on the out of turn 4, right here. There across the checkered line, we see them come down onto the apron like that. But other than that, Nickerson here, he's really stayed quite consistent in his lines. Now it's looking like he's starting to follow along here with Aaron Smith. Not sure if he's changing up his plans, if he's probably thinking to himself, all right, I need to conserve, I need to do something here. Because again, Aaron Smith, a very, very competitive driver here in this series. While that might not show in the point standings, it definitely shows in his record. Again, 2 times that he's won back-to-back here in the past 2 weeks. Incredible for the number 70 of Aaron Smith. But as we continue along here, checking in with some of our drivers battling it out here down on track. Sean Williams that we saw earlier with Howie Briss and Charles Jurek. Oh man, Paul, are you going to look to take it 4 wide? No. You wouldn't. You wouldn't dare. Paul, if you take it 4 wide, I will personally mail you a pierogi. Personally. And I'm sure now that as I say that, I don't really know what to expect now. Anyway, Howie Briss is following behind here at the tail end of this kind of string of drivers here with Sean Williams at the front. You see Caitlin Height pulling up to the back of the string now as well. So a little bit of formation still happening down on track, you know, even with the green flag runs that we've had here since that lap 34, lap 35, somewhere in that margin, caution that we saw for the first time for the race here for the Windy City 200. And right now, I mean, with all the battles that we're seeing on track right now, I mean, I don't want to say anything, but this is great. This is absolutely great. I'm loving the action that I'm seeing. I'm excited to see how this is going to continue to go on, because frankly, if this stays green the way that it is going to be a very interesting pit strategy. It's going to be very interesting to see how that all unfolds, how drivers handle that, and where we're going to start to see these drivers start to fall. So I'm not sure. We're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to keep checking things out. But as we look along here, James Miller sitting in that 09 machine. Also, thank you, William, in the chat. I'm not sure if you're still here or not. Sounds like you might have left, but thank you for the kind words. So, right now, our top three have quite settled out here quite significantly. You can see Aaron Smith all the way up there in the front here, leading this field. Tony Hillebrands is sitting in second place in that 92 machine, with James Miller in the 09 sitting in third. James Miller here, kind of the driver under the hot seat right now, on the hot seat right now, rather, as he's got the most pressure to work with, and he's got quite a few strong drivers behind him. He's got Nickerson, he's got Shire, he's got Hopp, he's got Mosteller. I mean, all four of these drivers, I mean, they definitely know what they're doing behind the wheel, and frankly, it probably won't be too long before we see one of them, especially the number 2 of Nickerson, who we've seen battling it out with the 92 of Tony Hillebrands for the lead earlier on in the beginning of this race. So definitely wouldn't count out the number 2 machine. Scott Shire here, you know, he's kind of slowly but surely working his way up this field, just kind of taking it easy, being real stable, real steady with his movements throughout this race. And frankly, sometimes that's the best way to do it, and usually the safest way to do it. But as we have crossed the line, it's lap 66 of 134 here. As our race has kind of stabled out here, folks, we are going to take a very quick commercial break here. And when we come back, we will bring you more coverage of round number 12 of the 2022 VRL Cup Series here for the Windy City 200. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we will be right back for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Welcome back, race fans. Lap 70 of 134 here. And really, we are about 10 or 20 laps, I'd say, until we see that probably first real green flag pit stop here of the night. I'm not exactly certain of the exact lap that we're going to see drivers come in. If I had to guesstimate, it'd be about the lap 85-95 mark. But that also, well, it could depend. It really could depend. It really changes based on how drivers are feeling on their tires, how they're feeling about their cars. There's a lot of different factors that go into why drivers choose when they come into pits. I mean, besides the reason of strategy in of itself, I mean, drivers are really the ones that make the decision at the end of the day. Their crew chief can... Oh, we got a car sideways. Daniel Mosteller takes it across the green on the front straight. Speeding his way across. He's going dirt tracking here in the 87 machine. That doesn't bring out the caution. Just like an arrow across the lawn, he is back on track here in that number 87 machine. Excuse me, I don't know where I got 82 from. But Daniel, man, oh man, that looked a little interesting. I am quite curious to take one quick look at that and see exactly how that unfolded as we take a look at our instant replay here. Taking a look here at Daniel Mosteller, the 87 machine gets a little unstable as he works his way out of turn 4. And there he goes across the grass on the front straight. Man, oh man, that has got to be rough. That has got to be rough for any of these drivers. And frankly, I'm glad to see that it didn't bring out a caution. We didn't see any other drivers get collected in that mess. So really, hats off. Hats off. And Daniel's still racing. So, I mean, no harm, no foul. I mean, Daniel unfortunately probably dropped down a few more positions than he would have liked. But you didn't wreck. You didn't hurt your car. And you're still racing. You didn't get a black flag. You didn't get the marshals coming out there and yelling at you, telling you you need to park it. So, I mean, I think it's a win. That's a win, right? That's a win. Got to always think about the positives when you're down there on track. But right now, ooh, man, Daniel, he's looking to get himself back up here. And just as I say that, Howie Briss there, he was getting a little wobbly there. I'm not sure if that was just him getting a little loose on the track there or what the situation might have been. But here comes Daniel Mosteller down on the inside of the 97 of Howie Briss here as they work their way into turn 3. I love how they switch, like going from the top down to the, oh man, it's beautiful. It's like watching a choreography. It's really interesting to see. But what's even more interesting to see is the battles happening on track. Okay, that's Michael Ashmore leaving the pits. I was wondering who was down there all the way down there on the bottom of the track there, but that would appear a driver to be making their way out of pit road. You can still see the tracks there from Daniel Mosteller. But it's lap 77 of 134 here, folks, and frankly, I am really impressed by these drivers here today. I truly am. This has been some incredible racing through and through from every single driver here tonight. And right now we're going to ride on board here with Caitlin Height in the 18 machine up into 6th place now as she's got Jaden Hopp on her outside in the 81 machine working their way into turn 1 now. Caitlin here going to try and work her way to the rear end of Scott Shire in that number 4 machine. Down the back straight we go. Just listening to the lovely, lovely roar of the 18. Caitlin here trying to get her way up to the back end of Scott Shire. She does so. And here we go, down into turn 1. We got a little bit of a battle here forming. Oh, man. Scott almost got into the door of that number 18 machine, but Kaylin up into 5th place now, cracked her way into the top 5, and a lot of these drivers here got to be feeling relatively the same way. The top 3 looking relatively calm at this point in time in the race. Taking a look at our gaps at the moment at the left-hand side of your screen. Oh, whoa, what do we got going on here as we come into turn 1? Scott Shire there, a little bit of movement from that number 4 machine. Not exactly certain what happened there. Let's ride on board here from the roof camera of Sean Williams and get a better idea of what exactly might happen here. Oh, we got pit stop starting here for James Miller. The 09 machine drops down. He's going to start the pit cycles here just about, well, 4 laps before I predicted it to, so I'd say that's pretty close. Great driving here. We got a little bit of 3-wide action. Oh no, Shire gets into the rear end of Nickerson just a little bit. They go spinning. Well, not necessarily spinning, but they go sliding there just for a moment. Keeping it together. It's lap 82 of 134. Sean Williams sitting in that 4th place spot now. They now have to work their way up here to Caitlin Hyde, who's worked her way up here into 3rd place now with quite a significant gap. As, again, pit stops have started here for some of our drivers. Not everyone has begun to work their way down into the pits here. So we're looking at Howie Briss, the 97, another driver who has looked quite phenomenal out here on track tonight. Coming down here at lap 83. We saw, I believe it was Jaden Hopp. Yes, it was Jaden Hopp. Jaden Hopp and James Miller both came down into the pits. James Miller, lap 80. Hopp came in lap 81. So slowly but surely, we're starting to see a lot of our drivers start to work their way down into the pits here as we see the number 5 of Benny Hogan start to do just the same here. And I'm going to be curious to see when our leaders particularly are going to do the same. I expect them to want to stay out the longest, obviously, as they're in the lead. Aaron Smith has a great 6-second lead over Tony Hilbrands at this point, but he's going to have to sacrifice that at some point. He's going to have to bite the bullet and come down into the pits there as we see the pit stop indicator for Benny Hogan come across our screen on the bottom our screens there. But it's lap 84 of 134, and frankly, I think this is going to be our last pit stop here, folks. I don't think we're going to see another one if things keep going the way that they're going. Yeah, here we go. Tony Hilbrands coming down into the pits. He is going to do a very good job there going into the entry. Looks like he might have had a little bit of lock up there, but shouldn't have doubted Tony there. Very experienced driver behind the wheel, doing a great job here tonight, as well as Michael Keithley came down to the pits here. Oh man, Charles Jurek here getting a little bit spicy down the back straight here with Scott Shire. That looked a little interesting. So here we go. It's Paul Mikolajczyk taken up into 4th place now as the number 2 of Nick Nickerson. Takes it down into the pits, and slowly but surely our field is starting to cycle their way. Our leaders are starting to work their way down into that pit lane and see where they end up. Man, look at this field behind Paul Mikolajczyk right now. These drivers are all just stacked up on one another. You see James Miller there, the 09 machine, who right now is trying to unlap himself. Technically, according to timing and scoring. But James Miller here going to be on those real fresh set of tires here. You can see him already starting to pull away really quickly here. Sitting in 14th right now, it won't be long before we see him back up in the lead here once again. But again, we just are waiting for those pit cycles to start. We're waiting for the field to get down there and make that begin. As right now, Scott Shire, Patrick Colby, Nicholas Lavelle all duking it out here in kind of a little bit of a three-piece. Scott Shire right on the bumper of Patrick Colby. Shire trying to stay as close as he can here. Riding on with the roof camera of the number 4 machine here once again. Following behind Nicholas Lavelle. Shire here sitting in 8th place, and here he goes. He's actually going to drop it down into the pits here this time around. Little bit of a wheel lock there as he takes that Fox 4 machine across the commitment line into pit lane, and that's going to start his, assuming their final pit stop here tonight. I can't imagine there would be any other reason for drivers to have to come down into the pits after this point, unless there's a caution. But I don't know. I don't see that really happening here at this point, folks. I think we are going to see a pretty consistent race here all the way until the very, very end. And frankly, I am quite excited to see how this is all going to shape up here. But let's take a look here and see if we can figure out where our leaders currently stand. So James Miller, the 09 machine, in 10th place at this point in time. Once Aaron Smith, who's actually coming down into the pits at this point. Once the rest of the field all the way down, no, we actually got a few drivers coming down here into the pits. We got Caitlin Height working her way in that number 18 machine. Looks like a little bit of a lockup there possibly as well from that number 18. But again, as the rest of the field has come down into pits, we'll see James Miller retake the lead if all things go according to plan. And right now, James Miller, between himself and the 81 machine of Jaden Hopp, he's got quite a gap that he's worked up here. Nearly, we'll call it almost a second here between himself and Jaden Hopp. And if he continues that pace that he's got, there you see Aaron Smith there coming out of the pits now as well. Aaron Smith, another driver that we've seen a phenomenal job leading this race here tonight. Not sure exactly where he's going to find himself once we finish this pit cycle here. It looks like he's actually going to fall into 10th place, so it looks like he will be 3rd once everything is all said and done here. I could be mistaken here. I could be a little off on that, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see James Miller in 1st, Jaden Hopp in 2nd, and Aaron Smith 3rd, with Tony Hilbrands in 4th. And frankly, let's take a look at our track map here at this moment. And actually, we're going to do something here a little bit different. We're going to take a look at our top 5 here on our track map. So, if you look on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, you can currently see the top 5 on track. Now, actually, this isn't even the one. That's not even the right ones that I want to show you guys. Let me actually get you the proper positions that I would like to show you. Okay, perfect. That's what I wanted to show you. So we're looking at the top from 6 till, well, they keep moving around here on us, but the point being, we are quite spread out here for a lot of our field, and I don't think that with the way things are going right now, I'm not sure how close some of these battles are going to be, if they even get to that point. We just have to keep watching and keep finding out here, as Patrick Colby, Kevin Foster have both made their way down into the pits now. That's gonna, again, oh, wait a second here. We got Jaden Hopp up here into the lead with James Miller sitting in 2nd place. I am not exactly certain how in the world that happened. But indeed it has, and I am now quite confused on how that happened here. So either way, either how, that's going to put the 81 machine up here at the very tippy top of this field. And I don't know, folks. It's 40 laps left to go. He might be able to pull this thing off if he can stay out here. Pitted on lap 81. I mean, theoretically, he's got enough. If he's got enough in the tank, he's got enough to... Oh, no. Well, there it is, folks. There is that dreaded yellow that I was oh so hoping that we weren't going to see here as we get our instant replay spooled up here. Nicholas Lavelle, or Keith Lee, excuse me, not Nicholas Lavelle. I'm sorry, Nicholas. Keith Lee. What? The same incident. I wonder if they even almost were on the same line there. I mean, we'll have to see here if we can still see it. It does not look like it's still there. That's unfortunate. That's absolutely interesting. That's interesting because out of the both cautions that we've had here tonight, it's been the same. Each time, it's been the same. Well, actually, no, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. Because we saw the other Daniel Mosteller who had that same incident, but he didn't get the caution. So maybe perhaps there should have been a caution thrown for that one? I don't know. Maybe this one was a mistake, maybe it wasn't. That's out of my pay grade. I get paid to sit here in the booth and talk to you lovely folks and entertain your ears. And hopefully your eyes as well. Hopefully everything you've been seeing tonight has been pretty exciting. I mean, I know in here in the booth that's been pretty exciting. I haven't had any complaints. You know, this, again, Chicagoland, pretty interesting layout that this track has. You know, it's not your typical oval. It's not your, it's hard to explain. It's really, truly one of a kind, and it's a lot of fun to watch these drivers compete the way that they are here tonight. But lap 99 of a 134 here, as drivers are going to get themselves stacked up behind the pace car here. I do believe we are going to take one short commercial break. So stay tuned and don't go anywhere. And when we come back, we will have more coverage of the Windy City 200 and more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Welcome back, folks, as we are working our way down the back straight here. It looks like that we have a driver, the 88 machine, that is, or is that the 38? Nope, that is definitely not the 38 machine. Or is that the 98 machine of Michael Ashmore? That is the 98 machine of Michael Ashmore here. Michael here, oh, it looks like the 12 machine as well of James Coulibaly. Gonna get a wave around here once the pace car across. Oh, it looks like Nick Nickerson as well. Nickerson, what happened to Nickerson here? He is unfortunate enough here to get the wave around. Okay, wow. That is quite the change of events here. So, Nickerson having quite a I want to say an up and down race. You know, we've seen him up front. We've kind of seen him struggling in the midfield. And frankly, I don't know what's going on for that number 2 machine tonight, but he definitely looked like he had what it takes to be able to compete up here in this front pack and for this race. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I mean, it seems like it's tough to say. It's really tough to say. I mean, we'll have to find out from our drivers once we get to post-race interviews, you know, just what makes this track so difficult, so unique to race on, and why we might have seen some drivers struggling. We'll find out more from some of our drivers here later. Stay tuned for that and stick around for the post-race interviews and find out a little bit more about the drivers that race here at the Velocity Racing League here for the 2022 VRL Cup Series. As the pace car makes its way down into pit road, the green flag will fly here with Nicholas Lavelle, Patrick Colby in the front row. The number 10 machine gonna have an opportunity to lead some laps here. Aaron Smith, here you see him way wide there as we work our way out of turn 2 and down the back straight here. We're still 3 wide here, working our way going into turn 3. It's Daniel Mosteller, Charles Jurek, Aaron Smith almost getting a little bit close there with Charles. Aaron Smith, the number 70, trying to charge his way back up here to the lead. Scott Shire dropping down to the apron there after a little bit of a shuffle. Looks like with Mosteller there for just a moment, but they collect it back together. We're still excellent racing here, and frankly, this restart here could make or break the race for some drivers here tonight, depending how things go all the way until the checkered flag, and we don't have much longer until that happens. We're 3 wide though as we come across the checkered line. Aaron Smith breaking away from that pack, pushing his way into 4th place. Tony Hilbrand's now going to be fighting his way into that top 5, holding on to 5th place now. Daniel Mosteller, Charles Jurek, Kevin Foster, Howie Briss, Michael Keithley, all trying to work their way now into a nice little groove, trying to see what they can do to get that air that they need, get that groove that they need. Here as we ride along board once and more with James Miller in that 09 machine. Sitting in the 11th place currently, we can kind of get a good view of our entire top 10 really. Again, James Miller sitting in that 11th place spot at this moment. As we see drivers shuffling their way down across the checkered line, getting back up high as they work their way into turn 1 once again. Lap 106 of 134 that we are on right now. Nicholas Lavelle has gotten himself quite the gap between himself and Patrick Colby. Nearly half a second separates the two. These 4 drivers right here on our screen kind of shuffling around here just a little bit, but meanwhile in front of them, Charles Jurek, Howie Briss getting into a little bit of a shuffle here with Howie Briss down on the inside as they work their way into turn 3, and they'll come out of 4 onto the front straight. Or the front curve, however you would like to prefer to call it. The choice is yours. Really just looking for clean driving here all the way until the end. Jurek getting a little close to the rear end of Sean Williams coming out of turn 2 onto the back straight. Jurek dropping down to the inside of the 97 of Howie Briss here, working our way out of turn 4 onto the front straight here. Michael Keithley, I'm not sure what that was there. Might have been a little bit of contact as the cameras were switching there. I'm not sure what that was. Both drivers seemed to get a little unsettled there for a moment, but keeping it together. As we continue down the back straight here, let's check in with our leaders. Nicholas Lavelle with just over a half a second gap between himself and Patrick Colby. Jaden Hopp right on the tail of the number 9 machine. Gonna go down onto the inside line. On the apron across the checkered line, going up into turn 1. Hopp almost getting into touch there with the number 9 of Patrick Colby. Stays down on the inside, working their way out of turn 2. Hopp with just enough room as he comes out in front of Colby. Onto the front straight, the 92 of Tony Hilbrand's, the 70 of Aaron Smith, all taking it 3 wide, going into turn 3, out of turn 4. Hilbrand's, he smacks the side of Aaron Smith. Aaron Smith goes sideways as he comes back onto track, straightens it out across the checkered line, but the caution still comes out, bringing out the 3rd caution here tonight for the Windy City 200. Wow. Wow, that is all I have to say about that one, folks. Let's take a look at our replay here once more, or for the first time rather, and see exactly. Oh, you see just that little bit of touch there from Tony Hilbrand. Sends the rear end of the 70 just going on sideways. But luckily for Aaron Smith, he was able to keep it together and on track. So great to see that for the number 70 machine here tonight. Remember how I was saying we possibly were expecting the final pit stop? Well, that was assuming that we were going to stay green all the way until the very end. And now that a caution has come out, the 3rd one here of tonight with only 23 laps left to go, drivers really, they have no other choice. Well, I mean, they do have another choice, but they're kind of left with only one option. Get a new fresh set of tires or try and stay out on the same ones that they've been on now for about 30 laps. And with only 23 laps left to go, it's usually a wise decision to tap into your tire reserves and take that extra set just to finish out the race with that extra bit of grip and allowing you to set that speed that you need in order to stay up front here. So with 22 laps left to go here in this race, Jaden Hopp, Tony Hilbrand's, Howie Briss, all going to be out here in the top 3 at this point in time. You see Aaron Smith back there in 7th, Daniel Mosteller in 4th, Charles Jurek in 5th, Nicholas Lavelle in 6th. Folks, this has been a lot of uncertainty, a lot of ups and downs, and really it hasn't been because of cautions. Let's just be honest about that. It's purely just the green flag run that we had, the pit stops that we saw. I mean, it was just a recipe for a very interesting battle for all of our drivers, and I think for the most part everyone has done a phenomenal job trying to do all that they can and taking the curveballs as they come. And frankly, I'm not really sure how else this field would be stacked up right now. I don't think I would be able to guess it, even if I tried. So, with Jaden Hopp sitting here in first place, is Jaden Hopp here going to be able to come away with a win? which would bring him his second win of the season. And Jaden sitting at 6th place in the championship standings at this point with 21 laps left to go. I mean, only on just slightly, really just 10 lap older tires than the majority of the field behind him. I don't know. Hop might be able to pull things off here and push himself up that championship just a little bit further, but we've also got to consider Tony Hilbrand's, the 92 machine, 2nd place in the championship, and Howie Briss sitting in 3rd place is 1st, leading the championship right now. So Jaden's definitely got a little bit of pressure around him, but hopefully he will keep that in the back of his mind as we get ready to go green flag here once again with only 21 laps left to go here for the Windy City 200 at Chicagoland Speedway. There we see the pace car dropping down into the pits. The green flag flies. We got drivers shuffling around. Nicholas Lavelle, Charles Jurek, both splitting off there for just a moment. Oh no. Michael Keithley going into turn 1. Not sure if he just got a little unstable there. He dropped down to the apron to regain his footing and get himself back together here, but 20 laps left to go. It's all about the battle for the lead right now, and it's Jaden Hop. Oh man, we are 3 wide. We are all over the place as we come across the checkered line with only 19 laps left to go. Who is it going to be to bring home the win here for the Windy City 200? Is it going to be Tony Hilbrand's? Will it be Jaden Hop? Will it be Nicholas Lavelle or another driver? Stay tuned to find out. It's only 19 laps left to go. We are just eating up the action here for the Windy City 200. Look at Aaron Smith back here in 5th place, trying to work his way back up here to the top 4, dropping down to the apron. Coming across the checkered line. It's 18 to go here. A lot of our field going single file going into turn 1 here, staying nice, calm, and steady as much as they possibly can. Tony Hilbrand's trying to hold on to his lead now as he has taken that away from the 81 of Jaden Hop. Nicholas Lavelle, the number 10 machine, now going to try and do the same here. Lavelle, the 3rd in championship right now. He gets a little bit unstable as he comes out of turn 4. That almost caused a wreck there, but they keep it together. Lavelle dropping all the way back down to 6th after that just a little bit of a minor issue there. We're going side by side though for the lead. It's Jaden Hop, Tony Hilbrand duking it out. A little bit of contact just behind them. We got a car in the wall. It's Daniel Mosteller. The 87 machine gets spun out. There's another driver that's all the way off track. Kaylin Height, I do believe the 18 machine involved possibly in that one. I'm not exactly certain if she was involved directly or what, but let's take a look at the replay here and see what happened first to Daniel Mosteller as we get our instant replay here spooled up. I'm curious. All right, so we see that is not what we want to see here. So let's back things up here. We're going to do things a little bit jank here. So, okay, so we know how this happens. So a little bit of contact there. Looks like from the number 9 machine. No, it wasn't contact. What was that? No, he just got loose all on his own. But Caitlin Height here, on the other hand. Oh, she gets into the back of Sean Williams, who was trying to check up on that incident. She didn't see any of that happening in front of him, obviously, which unfortunately caused the collision between those two drivers. But as it's our 4th caution here and drivers make their way down into the pits, we are going to take one final commercial break here, folks, to get ourselves ready here in the booth to call these final 15 laps. And when we come back, hopefully we will see who is going to win tonight's race. Chicagoland Speedway, stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we will be right back for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Welcome back, folks. As the lights just go off on the pace car here. Correction, actually, no, they don't. We still have just a little bit left to go. This is a perfect time to take a look at our point standings. I know we haven't really looked at this graphic at all tonight, but this is the standings after last week's race at Milwaukee Mile. Howie Briss currently sitting at the very tippy top with 1,722 points. Tony Hilbrand's in second with 1,601. Nicholas Lavelle with 1,578. Benny Hogan behind the leader with 145 points behind the leader. Sean Williams 149 points behind the leader. Rounding out the top 5 here for today's race. So really, things are quite interesting here for the championship. It's getting to be to the point where it's starting to get pretty close for Howie Briss here. As far as his lead is concerned, I'm not certain how long it's going to be before we start to see possibly Tony Hilbrand's or even Nicholas Lavelle or Benny Hogan or Sean Williams even get up there and start to contend for that lead here. But as we cross the line here, it's going to bring us 13 to go, and I believe once we bring it back to green, it'll probably be only 12 laps left to go. Actually, it looks like race control is stepping in there, making sure that we don't go a little bit too crazy here. Not too 100% certain on that, but we're going to keep going with it and seeing how things progress on here. Frankly, you know, we're right back to the same situation here, folks, where I don't know who is going to come across the line for the win. I mean, for a moment there, it seemed like Jaden Hopp. It could have been Nicholas Lavelle. Now it's back to Aaron Smith or Tony Hilbrand. Actually, no, that's Scott Shire. That's not even Tony Hilbrand. I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. But as we come into turn number 3, and come out of turn 4, the pace car will get ready to drop down into the pits, hopefully for the very last time here at Chicagoland. And the green flag is out, and we are racing here once more at Chicagoland Speedway. Aaron Smith trying to do what he can here. Frankly, let's just appreciate this. No. Let's not do that, folks. Let's not do that. I don't want to see that happen. We are already getting real spicy here as we come out of turn 2 down the back straight. We are 3 wide, 2 deep here down in the midfield. Charles Jurek, James Miller, we're all over the place. Nick Nickerson also in that number 2 machine. Oh man, look at this gaggle of cars working their way out of turn 4 with 12 laps left to go. A couple drivers banging their way on the wall. Across the checkered line we go. Heading into turn 1, all of these drivers trying to fight for positions, get themselves up to where they want to be here in today's race. And frankly, that is not all that we have left here. Eric Winder, what? Did Charles Jurek get loose all on his own? Okay, that was interesting. I gotta see this. I gotta see what happened here. Let's get our replay spooled up here. I want to see what happens here with Charles Jurek, the number 76 machine. There you're going to see Nick Nickerson. Oh, no, that was the 17 machine, excuse me, of Eric Whitner. Get himself involved in a little bit of an incident there. Let's take a look at exactly what happened there with Eric Whitner in that number 17 machine. Oh man, taps Charles Jurek and goes up into, it looks like that was James Miller actually, the 09 machine. And frankly, folks, with all that with all that action that we were seeing there, it was just bound to happen. It was really just bound to happen. And for those of you that caught it, I hope the voice crack was worth it. Because that won't happen again. I'm only kidding. So, 9 laps left to go here, folks. It's Aaron Smith, Nicholas Lavelle in that first row, Scott Shire, Matthew Fitz in second row, Patrick Colby and Michael Keithley going to be in that third row here on this restart. I'm not even going to say, you know what I was going to say. I'm not going to say. Because at this point, I'm convinced that a little bit of broadcasters, commentators, curse, whatever you want to call it, is taking a toll here. Yeah, so I'm going to check myself here in the booth. I'm going to make sure that everything tries to go as smoothly as possible. I'm going to pray to the racing gods and hope, or to the racing/iRacing gods, and hope that everything goes smoothly from this point on for these drivers for this race. And I want to see how this is going to end, because how this has been shaping up here, folks, this is going to be awesome. I mean, if we go green here with only 7 laps left to go, there is a very high possibility that we are going to see it's guaranteed that we're going to see an absolutely insane battle for the lead across the checkered line. That is almost a guarantee. So as we work our way down the back straight, it does not look like the lights are off on the pace car here quite yet. So we will have another lap or two around before we do see that pace car drop back down into the pits, and we go back to green flag racing here once more for the Windy City 200. So right now, kind of looking back at last week's results here as well, ironically, Scott Shire, sitting in third place, also finished at Milwaukee in third place. So I don't know if that's just coincidence. I don't know if Scott Shire is just he's just trying to run for consistency. I don't know. We'll have to ask Scott if he happens to finish there. But I don't even want to try and make that prediction, because frankly it's just too close to call. It's way too close to call. This is going to be an extremely tough battle here all the way until the checkered flag. These drivers are all going to be pushing everything that they got here in these machines. It's going to be a battle all the way until the very end. And there we see it. The lights are indeed off on the pace car. So we will be coming down in, well, we will be going back to green here in just a few moments as we come out of turn 2 and down the back straight here. And I got to say, what a lovely day here. Chicagoland Speedway. A great day for racing, and what a fantastic race it's been so far. But it's not over yet. As we come into turn 3 and we come out of turn 4, we will be back to green flag here in just a moment. All right, folks. Get yourselves ready. I know I'm ready. Let's see what these guys got. Guys and gals. Gal. Green flag is out. Aaron Smith, Nicholas Lavelle side by side here. Going into turn 1, this is where things start to get real spicy here, folks. A little bit of action down towards the backfield there. Not sure who that was. It looked possibly like Daniel Mosteller or someone back there. I'm not sure who exactly, what driver that was here, but working our way heading into turn 3. We got 3 wide battles happening here with Tony Hillbrand, Sean Williams, as well as Nick Nickerson, Michael Keithley, as well as Matthew. No, that's not Matthew Fitz. That's Patrick Colby duking it out side by side here. Aaron Smith trying to hold on to his lead here from Nicholas Lavelle. It's 5 laps left to go. Like I said, folks, it's going to be a shootout all the way until the very, very end. The checkered flag will fly here before too long. Michael Keithley trying to stay on the outside here of Patrick Colby, see if that line's going to make it work for him as they come out of turn 4. Matthew Fitz here trying to possibly throw a little bit of defensive maneuvers there as they come. Oh, a little bit of contact there between the 6'9" and the 53. 69, Matthew Fitz goes sideways. The big one is out on the back straight here. Matthew Fitz involved in that one as he gets a tap from the rear end. That's going to bring out the caution with only 4 laps left to go. Let's see exactly what happened here to the 69 of Matthew Fitz. There you see Michael Keithley, the 53, just behind him. He smacks the front end of the number 8 of Kevin Foster. Looks like Daniel Mosteller also was involved. Matthew Fitz, Michael Ashmore. Looks like a couple drivers involved in that one, unfortunately. And that is going to bring out our 6th caution here of the race, and going to be diving into our first of our GWC attempts here tonight. So what an interesting, and it's really almost kind of, I don't want to say predictable, I don't want to say expected, but races like this where, oh, look at that fake out from Aaron. No, that wasn't a fake out. For some reason, it looked like they were coming out of turn 4 for some strange reason, even though that's not the correct orientation of the track that they would be in, but anyhow, I'm getting myself all confused up here in the booth thinking about how this race has come to this point, and frankly, we had an extremely great green flag run here all the way here leading up to this point in the race, and these last few cautions, it's really just boiled down to the fact that these drivers are all pushing extremely hard here. I mean, and who wouldn't? This is the perfect time to do it. It's the final 3 laps of the race, and when you're someone like Aaron Smith, Nicholas Lavelle, Scott Shire, Patrick Colby, Nick Nickerson, Tony Hilbrands, Michael Keithley, Howie Briss, Sean Williams, I could go on and on here, but the point is, this is it. This is the point that matters in the race. This is what is going to make or break your race here. And, for Aaron Smith, all it takes is one mistake, and that goes for any other driver here. All it takes is one mistake, and that is it. And unfortunately, we've already seen that happen to a couple drivers here where that's what's happened. That's exactly what's happened. That one critical mistake has happened, and that's put them either out of the race or down positions or down laps at worst. So, really just goes to show how technical this track can be, how tricky Chicagoland can definitely be, but it also goes to show just how capable a lot of these drivers are, and that, well, they're still human. I mean, when you get to that point where it's the final couple laps of the race and it's time to go, I mean, like I said, these drivers are only human, and I think anyone in that position that likes to win, regardless of what sport you're in, regardless of what you're doing, if you like to win, you're going to do everything that you possibly can to win. And I think that's what we're going to see here in this final shootout. As we come across the line here one more time with a pace car, I think this will be, in fact, the last time before we do see that pace car come down into the pits here. And yes, that is correct. So, this will be the last time with the pace car in tow. 3 laps left to go here. Again, this is our first of our green-white checkered attempts for this race, so hopefully all things considered, hopefully we'll see that this is the only GWC of the night, but that could always change. But we'll just have to wait and see. All right, so as we come out of turn 4 here, we are going to see that pace car dive down into the pits. And there it goes. And here we get ready to go. The green flag is out. And away we go. Aaron Smith, Nicholas Lavelle side by side. You see Nick Nickerson giving that number 4, Scott Shire, a little bit of push here as we head into turn 1. Lavelle shuffling behind the number 70 machine as we work our way now out of turn 2, going down the back straight here. And remember, once the white flag flies, that is it. The caution cannot come out. Unless it just happens to be right as the white flag comes out, which I have seen happen, but hopefully we won't see happen here as we come across the checkered line. It's 2 laps left to go. Scott Shire, a little bit of contact there. They are bringing it, sliding across the checkered line here. And folks, that is a rough way to bring out the final lap here because we are still racing. The 70 machine still out in front. Nicholas Lavelle in second place. Nick Nickerson just behind in third. Aaron Smith, all he's got to do now is come out of turn 4 out on the front straight here. Nicholas Lavelle getting mighty, mighty close. Drops down to the apron. Aaron Smith takes it across the line for first. Nicholas Lavelle with a very, very mighty attempt to try and take first place there. Nick Nickerson taking home third. Tony Hilbrand's in fourth in the field as they just, well, they celebrate by wrecking. And that is going to be the end of our race here today at Chicagoland as we wait our post-race results and get ourselves ready for our post-race interviews. Folks, what an incredible race that it has been here tonight. I wasn't expecting things to go the way that they have here tonight. Definitely a lot of uncertainty for myself, but a great race nonetheless. And let's go ahead and go through our post-race results and get into our post-race interviews. So, taking home the win here tonight with Satellite Racing, it's Aaron Smith, the number 70 machine, taking home the win. Nicholas Lavelle in second, Nick Nickerson in third, Tony Hilbrand's in fourth, Michael Keithley in fifth, Howie Briss in 6th, Sean Williams in 7th, Benny Hogan in 8th, Michael Ashmore in 9th, Daniel Mosteller in 10th, Jaden Hopp in 11th, Kevin Foster in 12th, Bill Harkins in 13th, Paul Mikolajczyk in 14th, Eric Whitner in 15th, Charles Jurek in 16th, Scott Shire in 17th, Patrick Colby in 18th, and rounding out the rest of our field here, James Coulibaly in 19th, Matthew Fitz in 20th, James Miller in 21st, and Caitlin Height 22nd, Keith Lee in 23rd, and rounding out our field, last but not least, William Britton in 24th. So, that is going to round out our field here as we get ready for our post-race interviews. Up in the booth first, it's going to be Mr. Nick Nickerson. So let's go ahead and bring him on down here into the booth as soon as we can find him here. There he is. Nick, sir, do you have a read? Nick, welcome to the booth and welcome to the podium. It was a very interesting race here tonight, and frankly, I really wasn't too certain what to expect here. In watching yourself, that number 2 machine, duking it out with Tony Hilbrand's towards the beginning, I mean, kind of walk me through your night here. It looked like that number 2 machine just kind of, I don't want to say struggling, but definitely was trying to find its place on track throughout the night.
Yeah, man. I mean, I haven't raced at this track on my racing here in quite a few years, so I mean, I kind of knew the shape of it, but I knew none of the characteristics, so I was kind of learning as I go. You know, I spent practice just trying to figure out a good qualifying lap. And then, yeah, I spent the first couple stints there just burning my tires away, just trying to find a nice, fast, consistent, smooth line, and it wasn't really working out too well. But I had some speed in the beginning, but I was, burning my right front off there, and first couple guys would come past, and there was one particular restart where I was just getting freight trains, and I was just holding on for dear life on that high lane, and kind of felt like I was in the way, and I felt bad, but we weren't losing, third and second place by too much by duking it out like that. But yeah, and then I had an incident trying to get into pits. I got speeding and unsafe pin entrance, and I got sent back 2 or 3 laps. I think at first it was 3, but that was because not everybody cycled through, so it ended up being 2, and somehow within 30 laps I made it. I was able to make those 2 laps up, get fresh tires, and make it all the way up to 3rd place.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really great to see all the different strategies out on track. I mean, it was really tough, I think, just watching up here in the booth, because all the cautions that we've seen come out kind of towards the middle of the race, they seemed like they were just so perfectly timed that, you had drivers that were out there that are kind of like, I don't know if I want to come in yet, or, they were like, okay, yeah, absolutely, let's go in right now, let's get this done. So it was interesting to see all the different strategies out there tonight, and a lot of drivers, it definitely seemed like it was either working or it was just kind of half working, half not working. It was a mess, Nick. That's all I can say. But what I do want to ask you here, going into next week for the All-Star race at Iowa, how are you feeling about that? I mean, it's been some pretty good performances that we've seen out of that number 2 machine. Do you feel that you're going to do pretty well at Iowa next week?
Yeah, Iowa's with these cars, it's kind of like a half of a short track, somewhere between the the intermediates and short track, and so I feel like I do pretty well at short tracks. But I think I could do pretty good there, at least easy top 5, I believe. It's just hopefully I don't have bad internet. For some reason on Mondays I've been having kind of in and out internet for a first hour or so of the race. That's why I had to leave Milwaukee the week before, I forget, last week. Yeah, so just hopefully the internet sticks around, and I should be able to get a pretty decent run out of Iowa, man. I do like that track.
Absolutely. It'll be a fun race to watch, and hopefully it'll be a fun race for yourself to be in. But before you head out here tonight and celebrate and crack one open for your podium tonight, is there anyone at home, anyone watching the broadcast or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before we go?
Yeah, man, just Tony and all of the effort he puts into this league, and everybody that participates, man. I mean, it's turned out to be a league that I thoroughly enjoy and look forward to on Mondays. And Mace, man, I appreciate doing the broadcast, man. You do an awesome job. Look forward to watching this one.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nick. And I look forward to seeing you next week at Iowa.
All right, man. Take care.
You as well. All right, folks, that is Nick Nickerson, the 3rd place driver, out of the booth here tonight. He's going to head out and crack one open at the racetrack bar before he heads home. As we move on to our next driver, taking home 2nd place, it is Nicholas Lavelle, the number 10 machine, joining us up here in the booth. Nick, sir, do you have a read?
Yes, sir.
Nick, welcome back here to the booth, and back here to another podium. I believe this is, let me see here. I got to actually see how many podiums you've got so far. So far this would be looks like your, well, actually, no, this is your first pole position. Okay, wow, okay. I thought you were here once before, but yeah, Nick, you are up here for the very first time in 2nd place out of all positions here. And Nick, really the first question that I have for you right out of the gate, I mean, you kind of were put in this position at the most opportune time. I mean, we've seen a lot of cautions that right towards the end of the race that were shuffling the field just left and right. I mean, I was up here, even myself in the booth, just like, I don't know where this field is going. I don't know who is going to end up where. But right as we had that final 5-10 laps left to go, here you are, 2nd place. And what was kind of running through your head, and were you worried at any point in time of losing that spot?
Well, I didn't really have much speed starting off. I qualified like 15th, so I got lucky on a yellow. I ended up in the top 10, and I figured I was just going to send it from there on out. Anywhere in the top 10 is a win for me, especially when I qualify that far back. So I wasn't really worried. I was hoping I wouldn't get caught up in a wreck, and I lucked out, and that didn't happen. So hey, second place, I'll take it.
Absolutely. A podium is always a great thing to walk away home with. But, Nick, I mean, I was saying a little bit in the broadcast, but I wasn't exactly able to clarify. Kind of walk me through here a lap here at Chicago, and do you think there was any sort of really weak points of the track that you think drivers were struggling with, or what do you think was really kind of the elephant in the room, if you will, for this track?
I think everybody loved it here. I think it's the first time everybody's been satisfied with the race, except for, the people that got wrecked towards the end. But everybody loved the track. The setup was pretty good. It was a little tight in one sometimes, but Chicagoland's probably the best mile and a half there is.
Absolutely. It looked like a lot of fun out there. I mean, we were seeing a lot of great battles up here in the booth. I mean, it was really great, and hopefully we get to see more action here at Chicagoland going into future seasons. But either way, phenomenal racing here tonight, and, well, after hearing that, I'm actually quite surprised. But, Nick, before I let you go here and crack one open, celebrate your second place podium here tonight, is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home, or anyone in your pit crew that you would like to shout out and thank before you go?
I think everybody turned it off a while ago when I was running 15th. So, I don't think anybody's still watching it. But, hey, if they are, I made it happen.
Absolutely. Well, Nick, hopefully we get to see you next week at the All-Star race at Iowa, and hopefully get to talk to you again.
Yes, sir. I'll talk to you later.
Absolutely. Have a great night. All right, folks, that is Nicholas Lavelle out of the booth here, taking home second place. And last and certainly not least, Aaron Smith, the man of the hour, taking home the win here for a third time in a row here in the past 3 weeks for the VRL 2022 Cup Series. Aaron, I want to know who your trainer is. I want to know who your coach is. I want to know all the details, so that way, I can put myself in your shoes and start just winning races. I mean, what do you got going on in there, man?
I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. I mean, I was pulling away from them really hard at the end of those green flag runs. I'm not sure what they were doing. I don't know if it was that they were running about half a lane to 2 lanes up above the fast lane or what, but I was just flying on those old tires. But it was unfortunate that we had a couple cautions on the race there, because I feel like it would have been pretty good if we'd have ended after that last set of green flag pit stops. But I'm certainly not complaining, though.
Absolutely. I mean, and I was kind of wondering that to myself here as well, kind of right towards the end before we saw those cautions come out, how you're going to stay up there in front and retain that lead. But, I mean, having those cautions come out, that's an even harder thing to have to come away with. But, Aaron, the one thing that I kind of want to ask you about here, having this field shuffle around as much as it did here throughout this race, did you really expect to be back up here in the front? I mean, I was up here in the booth, and I wasn't sure who was going to end up where. It just seemed all over the place there towards the end. I mean, run me through what was going through your head there towards the end.
Yeah, I was a little worried after that the last major caution where it shuffled the field up after green flag pit stops. But I figured that I'd be able to go up through the field again. But then once I caught myself on Tony's back bumper and spun myself out, I was a little worried there, because I didn't know if the last set of tires that I took were going to hold up. But yeah, once everyone pit for their last set and cycled me to the front, it was pretty easy from there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it definitely looked like you had it in the bag from there, and Nicholas Lavelle definitely seemed like he wanted to give you a little bit of pressure there right on the final lap, coming out of turn 4 there. But luckily, you're able to come home with the win here tonight. But I want to ask you one final question here, Aaron. How are you feeling about the All-Star race, if you plan on attending?
Yeah, I think I'll be there, and I'm looking forward to it. Iowa was one of my better ovals for a time. I don't know how long it's been since I've won there, though, so we'll see if we can break that streak tonight.
Well,
tomorrow, or next week.
Next week, absolutely. Well, I am going to be curious. I am going to be finding out with Tony here after the race to figure out what is the longest running race win streak here in the VRL Cup Series. And I honestly, Aaron, if I don't want to jinx you, I don't want to say anything, but I think that there is something coming in your future that you might be quite proud of, and I think the rest of the team here at VRL, the rest of the drivers here, will be quite proud of you as well.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to see if I can get to that streak, but we'll see. The next coming week should be pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. We won't call any jinx. We won't make any predictions. We're just going to see how things go. But, Aaron, you are on a very, very bright path right now in the VRL Cup Series. and taking home your third consecutive win in a row. Aaron, before we let you go and hopefully crack open 2 cold ones before you head out tonight, is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home, or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the folks at the Velocity Racing League for putting the show on, as well as the folks at the Satellite Racing Team for their support, you broadcasting, and all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it at Iowa next week.
Absolutely. Well, Aaron, thank you for joining me here in the booth tonight, and congratulations once again for a 3rd time in a row on your win here tonight at the Windy City 200, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, folks, that is Aaron Smith, the number 70 machine, out of the booth here tonight, and that is going to conclude our coverage of the Windy City 200 for the 2022 VRL Cup Series. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight. I hope you all enjoyed what you saw here, and if you did, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Catch all the action that we have here 7 days a week on Team Goon Squad. Once again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next week, same time, same place for the All-Star race at Iowa. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next week.